Hello, I'm Rob King and this is Homebrew number 27. This is going to be a New England IPA. I confess I did rather enjoy my recent IPA experience, which was heavily dry hopped. This one though has a multitude of different hops, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how this turns out. Additionally, we're going to use a Kveik yeast, which means we should get through fermentation pretty darn quick. Temperature recently has been pretty high, so actually that's the perfect environment for a Kveik yeast. So please do like and subscribe, and let's get on with it. This is a kitchen top cook pot all grain recipe. The grains have all been milled ready for me by Brew. I love their kits, bring everything together all in one place. So the recipe is 1.1 kilograms of extra pale Pilsner, 100 grams of Flaked Oats, 100 grams of Flaked Wheat, and 100 grams of Wheat Malt. Going alongside that is the aforementioned Kveik yeast, and we're also going to have Dorado Hops, Mosaic and Citra, and of course some Irish moss to help with clarity. To get started though, we're going to need 7.5 litres of bottled water. The important equipment is going to be a 10 litre pot and sieve. In addition to that, we need a very large serving spoon. There is also there at the back an auto siphon, we'll need that later on. You can see there a thermometer and also our hydrometer. That'll be to measure the ABV. An airlock and bung is something we're going to require. There's a pipette there which we may use if we require lactic acid. We'll come to that a little later on when we talk about pH. We've also got a hop bag and a brew in the bag. They're nylon bags to contain the grains and the hops. And there at the back we've also got our pH meter. Of course, most important of all is going to be the demijohn, where we put the wort and the yeast at the very end. Step 1 is to bring 7.5 litres of bottled water up to 70 degrees. The water chemicals, they're quite high in calcium chloride. We've got 2 grams of calcium chloride to add. We have 0.3 grams of canning salt. We then have 0.74 grams of Epsom salt and 0.73 grams of gypsum, and they're going to go in now. Right, we've reached the strike temperature of 70 degrees. Time to mash in the grains. This is supposed to be a 10 litre pot. I did measure it more accurately and it came out about 9 and a bit, so missold on that one. Our job here is just to make sure there's no clumping like that. You clump that. The mash temperature we want to maintain is 67 degrees. It is literally dead on at 67 degrees. This is 15 minutes into the mash. We're going to take a pH reading. Bit hot, take it straight away. Need to cool that down, but that should be enough. My freezy cup came to the rescue again, sped up the old cooling down process. So this is now down 19.6, that's close enough. We're looking for a range 5.2 to 5.3. Here's the lens. 6.14. Okay, I'm just going to do some sums and we'll see how much lactic acid we need to add. 5 millilitres should bring it down 5.4 pH. Added 5 millilitres of lactic acid. Power is up, it's time to bring out the grains and start raising the temperature. We're bringing it up to the boil and we're going to take a pre-boil gravity reading. It's 10 minutes to go. First thing we're going to do is set up our cooling ready. This is 10 grams of Fermaid-O, yeast nutrient even, yeast nutrient, and 5 grams of Irish moss for clarity. We've only got 10 minutes to go and then we're moving on to the hops. This is 7.5 grams of Citra, 7.5 grams of Mosaic and 7.5 grams of Dorado. In combination, the smell is wonderful. Our 60-minute boil is up, so we're now going to cool it down to 82 degrees for the hop stand. The cooling system, let's see how it goes. Our initial splashback was very hot indeed. Well, that didn't take long. We're down to 82 already. We're going to use a hop bag for this. The hops will go in. Oh, the smell of those hops. Hop stand, 40 minutes. Our pre-boil sample is cooled down, so let's have a look. 1040. Let's check that against our target. We should have seen our pre-boil pH come right down. Let's hope so. Well, actually it came down more than expected, 4.80. The hop stand has been running for 40 minutes. We can now return to cooling and bring it down to 38 degrees, which is the pitching temperature for Kveik Voss. The NEIPA wort is cooling and I'm enjoying the Muscat Kentish Pale Ale. This is a very hoppy, very tasty local brew. 3.6%, just the perfect amount of bitterness. Oh, cuts the thirst right now. I've been waiting for this. Another sample. This one though is for the original gravity. We are ready for transfer. This is 5 grams of Kveik yeast. That has rested there on the top. This is a bit shy of the total volume as well. It came in about 4.2 litres. Once we've got a gravity reading, I may dilute this a little just to give us a bit more volume. Well, brew day is over. We can put in the airlock. And hopefully we should see a reaction pretty quickly. Right, time to check the original gravity. Well, this has come in about 1064 against a target of 1065. I think we can live with that. This is distilled water, clean the lens. .83, so it's just okay. This is a bit unbelievable. It hasn't really been any time at all, and we're starting to get bubbles in the bubbler. It's been only 3 hours.
14 hours later, this is day 1. The colour is already looking pretty good. "38 hours later and fermentation has slowed right down. Lots of crowding over the top. A little wispy, it seems. A little top at the bottom. Lovely colour.
We are day 2 and the fermentation has started to slow down quite a lot, so it's time for some dry hopping. The 3 hops are the same as we used during the hop stand, 6 grams each. First of Mosaic. Ooh, lovely earthy aroma. Second is 6 grams of Dorado. Once again, this one's got more of a sweet aroma to it. Finally, we have Citra. This is one of my favourites, but more of an earthy aroma to it than fruity. I'm putting all of these in a hop bag. Now, the hop bag has been completely sanitized. I am conscious that we don't want to expose too much oxygen to it or outside bacteria. There is a risk of that, of course, with the hops themselves. Because I'm going to expose this to air to put the dry hops in, I'm also going to give it a blast of CO2 once the dry hops are in there before I restore the airlock. And we're done. So this is going to go away again for another 3 days, and then we'll rack it off and see how it's doing. I am looking forward to this. Those hops smelled wonderful. We are only day 5, but we are at the end of day 3 for dry hopping. So I'm going to transfer to another demijohn. Wow, we're definitely light on volume. That is an impressive amount of sediment we've left behind there. The krausen on top, fairly wispy layer at the bottom. Clearly the hops absorb some of the liquids too. I've given it a good healthy dose of CO2 to give it a bit of extra protection. The one thing about hazy is of course that it's a little bit more susceptible to oxygen, so try to do that as quickly as I could. Just going to let this stand for a day or two, and then I will cold crash and then we'll carbonate. Given the volume, I think I'm going to take carbonate. Day 6. Going in the fridge. New fridge problem. The beer has frozen. Even the sanitizer is frozen. Oh dear. This is day 8. So we've taken it out of the fridge. The ice seems to have melted, thank goodness. And we do seem to have a bit of shrub there at the bottom. So some of that sediment fell out during the cold crash. We're going to transfer. This is sanitizer in here. We've also had it in the fridge, so it's nice and cold too. I'm guessing we probably have only 3 litres left in here. I've kept the cap on, we want to avoid that shrub at the bottom. That's 8 psi, I should have pushed the air to the top. Wow, that's finished exactly on 10. So, fridge for this for a week. See how we get on. As a consequence of freezing the darned thing, my hazy is rather clear. However, it's time for a gravity reading. That seems rather close to target. Today is brew day for the neck oil clone, but it's also evaluation time for the good old IPA with the Kveik yeast that got frozen partway through. I confess I've already been sampling this one. It is supposed to be a hazy, and despite being frozen, it still has turned out a hazy. Perhaps not quite as hazy as we were anticipating, but still, it looks pretty good. I've already been trying it, and the aroma on this is absolutely delicious. Those Dorado hops in particular, I can really see them coming through. I have to say, this is like a assault on the senses when it comes to the hops. Similarly, for the taste, it's got that lovely IPA taste, that lovely IPA bitterness. Actually, not particularly too bitter, but it is there on the first swig. Lovely mouthfeel. It is supposed to be, I think, a little thicker on the mouthfeel than it's turned out. That may be because I froze the thing. That probably didn't help. For a sunny day, this is amazing. For any day, perfect. Cheers, everybody. Well, I am really sorry to be at the end of this one. This has been delicious. It really has been a quite enjoyable, very fast IPA. Over time, over the last week, those tropical fruits really seem to have matured out as well. They really come through in the flavour when you drink. Oh, wow. Cheers everybody, like and subscribe, and see you for the next one.